Perfect.
Oh God, you're live.
We're live.
Okay,
We're live. Hi, hello. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday?
Still?
It's Wednesday. It's 6-ish. And we're here, 6 o'clock.
And we're live. It's Wednesday.
And we're live.
I'm Angie. This is Chef Tessa. We are here in the well-seasoned kitchen, and it's incredibly dark out. It feels like 10 o'clock. This lack of daylight savings is not saving me.
I mean, as soon as 4:30 rolls around now, it's dark and
Yeah,
sad.
it's weird. Because was it last week we had that epic rainbow?
The double rainbow, that was last Thursday.
Yeah, and it was still daylight and amazing. And this week,
Nothing.
no rainbows.
Nothing.
No rainbows. So, yeah, how's it going?
It's going, you know, we're moving through the week.
There's a lot of booze out.
There's a lot of booze. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this I've been looking forward to it since last Wednesday, since we said we were doing this today.
We decided we were going to get all boozed up.
Exactly.
So we talked last week, if you're able to join us. Last week was Chef Tessa made a whole bunch of Moroccan food that was really delicious. So hopefully you had a chance to try some of those recipes at home since last week. But we decided that this week, or from now on for these classes, we were going to start doing some sort of holiday entertaining kind of ideas and make ourselves a little more useful to you guys during the holiday season. And so some of these recipes are recipes that need to be made and sat for quite a while so that the alcohol can infuse. So it's not something that's ready instantly. So we thought we'd make these tonight and then check back with them periodically leading up to the holidays and check our handiwork.
We can check them every day as we go, you know.
Some of these recipes that we're preparing tonight would make a really great gift, a hostess gift, or, you know, just lock the door, turn on the Netflix, turn off the phone, and enjoy them yourself.
Exactly.
So I guess first things first, we should have a beverage while we're talking about all of these booze. So since we have all of this hard alcohol tonight, I thought maybe we should have an actual cocktail, except I did forget to buy ice, which is a bit tragic.
It's a good thing my standards for drinking aren't the highest.
It's a bit tragic. Yeah. So, are you a gin lover?
I am a gin fanatic.
Ooh,
I
really?
love gin is my absolute favorite, and I had one of my old colleagues say, "Oh, well, you must drink it in the winter because that prevents you from getting sick. The juniper helps you not get sick." And I was like, "Yeah, that's why I drink it. 100%. That is exactly why I like gin, because of the health properties."
Huh. Well, I would never get scurvy. Let's just start with that. We don't actually have a shot glass, so I'm going to use a little, you know.
We're going to use, a measuring cup.
Measuring cup, because that's how we roll around here.
Yeah.
So this is gin. Obviously. Do you understand the ways of the fever tree?
No, I
You're
don't.
not familiar with fever tree?
I am not familiar with fever tree.
So this is the greatest tonic water ever made. It's really delicious. It comes from the UK. It's really well balanced. The botanicals are really delicious. This is the plain one. This is the premium Indian tonic. They make elderflower. They have
a cucumber one, right?
They do have a cucumber one, but this one is just really good, really classic tonic. Your tonic shouldn't fight with your gin. Yeah. So some gins, because of the botanicals in them, do better with some kind of, you know, different kinds of tonic water. Okay. But honestly, with a basic fever tree, you can never really go wrong. The cucumber fever tree is delicious, especially if you've got like a cucumber forward gin, like a Hendrix or something. Yeah. What's your gin go-to? Do you have one?
I have a few of them. I mean, I like Aviation Gin because
it's Ryan's.
Because it's Ryan's.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Aviation Gin. Hendrix I drank a lot of, and then I actually like the Ungava, the yellow looking one that scares everybody.
Is
I'm
that
a big fan.
saffron in it? Is that
I'm not sure.
I think it's because of saffron.
And then there's Empress as well.
The purple one.
The purple one that makes really nice cocktails. But Hendrix was my go-to for a long time.
Hendrix is delicious. So speaking of delicious, this is a new product that we have in the store. It's called Siciliana Limonata. And I find it too sweet to drink on its own. Like, I couldn't just drink this can of lemonade. It's sweet, but it's tart. It's not like sticky sweet. So I like a splash of it in my gin and tonic. And anyhow, nobody's going to get scurvy here tonight either.
Nope. Yeah.
Yep, that'll work.
That'll work. That'll do. This is Do you find it sweeter than San Pellegrino? The limonata?
No, I don't.
Not as sweet, because
Yeah.
that's my one thing with San Pellegrinos. I like about a quarter of a can, and then I can't drink anymore because it's just so
I
sweet.
add it to things. Like I
Yeah.
would cut it with club soda because I can't handle how
The
sweet
sweetness?
it is. And it's really strong tasting. Like
Yeah.
I find it almost artificial. Not quite, but I know it's
On the way
not,
to being?
but yeah, it's not. I can't drink very much of it. So anyhow, this would be better if we had ice, but whatever.
Well, the tonic water was cold, so there's
Yeah,
that. That's like
there's
a
that.
baby step in the right direction.
So tonight we're gonna make 6 recipes, right?
6, yeah.
So some of these recipes are mine, some of them are chefs, and so we've both made, I think you've made yours before. Mm-hmm. I've definitely made all of mine before. Some of them need to, like I said a few minutes ago, need to sit and steep, but others can be consumed in the next couple of days. So we're gonna do a cranberry ginger lime gin.
Yep.
Orangecello, which
Yep.
is like limoncello but made with oranges. We're gonna do a fig and vanilla infused whiskey. Mm-hmm. We're doing a vegan
Irish cream.
Thank you. That can or can't be vegan. You can use non-vegan delicious ingredients as well as some delicious vegan ingredients. But it's also keto, this recipe. And so last Christmas at my house was a keto Christmas, and so that's why we were drinking this last year, and it's actually really delicious.
I'm excited for
We're
this.
gonna do hot buttered rum and
White chocolate liqueur.
oh yeah, and we're also gonna just talk about making your own vanilla, which makes a really great gift that's super easy to do. So where should we start? Do you want to start with the white chocolate liqueur? Or?
Sure, let's start with the white
Okay.
chocolate liqueur.
Okay.
We're just going to kind of bounce back and forth here.
So all right, you need the pan?
I need a pan for this,
All
yeah.
right, so let me get this out of your way.
I'll need a pot. So for my white chocolate liqueur here, I've got some whole milk. I've also got some heavy cream, so 35% cream. There is 4 ounces of white chocolate here. Got a little bit of vanilla paste and some sugar. This is also going to require our vodka, which is over here. Find the bottle. And what's great about the white chocolate liqueur is if you want to add peppermint, candy cane flavor to it, you can easily, and it's not going to kind of affect anything. So I'm going to get this together fairly quickly.
So you want to use really good quality white chocolate. This isn't where
Yes.
you bust out your melting wafers.
No, absolutely not, because it's going to probably not have the right texture once it's completed. If you have old white chocolate, it's not going to melt properly.
Yeah.
It's just going to get really gritty, and then it gets really hard. So we're using Calibo today. That's kind of our go-to chocolate. But this is definitely not the time to use the old chocolate and think, oh, it's fine, we're adding booze to it. No, you'll notice.
Yeah.
You're going to be straining it all out after. So I'm going to pretty much get everything in my pot here. And because there is chocolate in here, you are going to want to watch this like a hawk and whisk it constantly so that the white chocolate doesn't stick to the bottom and burn. I've got some
It's a good reminder. I
vanilla
don't know who burnt
paste.
things earlier
I don't know
today.
who burnt actually, I think it was a team effort earlier today.
I think we both burnt the same thing.
We both burnt the same thing. Yeah, I started us off really strong. And then you came in to take over because I had already burnt it, and then
I also burnt it.
and then she also burnt it. So, but it's okay. We learn. So we're just going to be stirring that until it melts. And we are using these handy dandy mason jars today for everything.
So I'm sorry, if you were changing this to a peppermint thing, how would you do that?
If I was adding peppermint, I would add peppermint extract when I add the vodka in. So not on the heat. When you pour the vodka into the jar and you shake, then I would add a little bit of the extract.
But go easy on it.
Go easy on it, yeah.
It can take over and
I would put maybe a 1/4 teaspoon at most, especially if it's a good peppermint extract. If you wanted to go the candy cane route, you could always chop up some candy canes, but you'd probably need to, I've never melted the candy cane into it. I don't know.
But non-Christmas, you could do, like if you're using extracts, you could use a raspberry white chocolate would be good.
Yes.
You could just do straight up vanilla white chocolate.
Yeah.
So candy cane at Christmas only, not
Yes,
for summer.
not for summer. And this is one of those liqueurs that it's just nice to, I mean, you should mix it with something, but it's also just nice on its own in front of the fire when it's freezing cold.
So on ice or in your coffee?
On ice or in your coffee, exactly. Breakfast booze. Well, I mean, anything can be breakfast booze if you're in the right mood.
True story.
So once that gets melted down, we're going to pour it into this jar here. We're going to let it cool a little bit, and then we're going to top it with vodka. We're going to shake it really aggressively, and then it's going to live in the fridge for 1 to 3 days. It depends. Now, don't be alarmed because there is no binder in this. There's nothing to kind of force the chocolate and the liquor together. It may separate in your fridge. Just give it another good shake, and then you can go ahead and pour it. It stays good. I mean, it is a dairy-based product, so check your expiry dates on your dairy and live by it.
But the vodka will preserve it a bit, so you'll get a longer life than if it was just straight milk in the fridge.
Yeah.
But I mean, drink it. Don't waste it. Just drink it. You'd make another batch.
Yeah, we don't waste things here.
Okay, this is ready, Chef.
It's ready,
It's
so we're
nice
gonna
and smooth.
pour it right into this jar here. And we are doing the express version of a lot of these recipes tonight, I will say. So before you add the vodka in, ideally you would want it to be fully chilled.
Right. And you can see the vanilla seeds in there. So the recipe calls for extract. We use paste because that's what we use in our kitchen, vanilla paste. And you get those really nice seedy bits. So I think it looks nicer with the vanilla paste.
It looks more kind of, I don't want to use the word rustic. Fancy. But I'm going to use it. More like homemade. So
probably safe to add the booze now.
what's the worst that could happen, right? Just drink it faster. So this recipe calls for about 2 cups. I need to use this for the Orangecello, so we're just going to do half a bottle.
Sure, just fill it up.
We're just going to...
So this is Wheatley vodka that we're using. It's from the, I feel like it's from Kentucky. It's maybe from the Maker's Mark, or it's from Buffalo Trace, I think, the Wheatley vodka.
Okay.
And I don't know why I had it at home, but I did. And so I have a lot of random stuff that we're using up tonight, random vodkas. And so this is also a good way to clean out your liquor.
Your liquor leftovers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you have the 2-3 ounces of everything left over and you're kind of like, this is your time.
So now that just goes in the fridge, and then I'd let it sit for at least overnight if you wanted to drink it. Tomorrow would be delicious.
Yeah.
At least overnight, but probably you've got a week.
If I don't make it through the day tomorrow and this jar is half empty and my coffee is gone, you know why.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the hot buttered rum. So this actually is my recipe, and this is a product that we sell here in the store. So if you don't feel like making it, you can probably come in the next few days and buy it. Because it will be available in our refrigerator. So it's actually cold in here now, so the butter's a bit hard. So this is a lot of butter. So it's a cup of unsalted butter, or you can use salted and omit the salt. This is unsalted butter. And I'm just going to break up the butter a little bit, just now that the butter's hard. As soon as the ovens turn off and everybody leaves here, it starts to get cold in the store. It does
get cold.
But during the day when both the ovens are blaring and there's 800 people in here, it gets really warm in here. So this is some dark brown sugar. And you want the dark sugar, I think the darker, this is golden, you can use the really dark, you can use muscovado. I think the flavor of the molasses adds some really nice depth to the hot buttered rum.
And if you don't have dark brown sugar, but you have molasses and white sugar, put your white sugar in a food processor and add molasses and just blitz it until you add as much molasses as you want, and then you've got your brown sugar right there. So don't feel like you need to go run out and buy it if you have molasses and white sugar at home.
So in here is, this is some honey. So this is some local honey that's going to go in here. So we have 3 different kinds of sweetener in here, and I think they all add a different sort of note, I guess, to the hot buttered rum. So this is some good local honey. And I'm also going to add a little bit of maple syrup. If you don't have maple syrup or if you don't have honey, you can go ahead and just add one, not both. But I'm using both because I like the different flavors that you get. But I also don't want hot buttered rum to taste too mapley.
Yeah. The honey adds a little bit more of a, like, kind of rounds everything out.
Yeah. So the spices that go into the hot buttered rum are like your classic
Warm
spices. So allspice, cloves, nutmeg, allspice, cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon. And then there's a pinch of salt. So once you get all of this combined and your butter's nice and soft, which likely isn't going to happen right now because this butter's pretty hard.
You're getting there.
It's starting. So you want to go ahead and just mix in your spices. And I think Jenna's posted the recipe for this as well. And then the butter's going to start to soften up all the spices and the flavors are going to start to come together. So this is going to take a little while to bring together because the butter's still a little bit hard. But you want to just make sure the butter gets nice and soft. Please don't put this in the microwave because the texture of this whole thing will change if you completely melt the butter. You just want the butter to be soft. So just let it sit like in your bowl, maybe someplace nice and warm. Not here right now, apparently.
If I put gloves on, can I start mashing it?
You could mash it with your hands, but it'll start to come together. And you could do this in a food processor too. And you can make as many batches of this as you like. The butter will keep easily through the rest of the holidays. Just keep it in the refrigerator. And then when I put it just in a small jar or some sort of bowl with a tight fitting lid, because you don't want it exposed in the fridge, you need it to be completely covered. And then you just literally pull out a couple tablespoons full, as strong as you want the butter base to be. And you drop it into a coffee cup with some hot water, top it with hot water, stir to melt the butter, and then you finish it with the rum. That's the hot buttered rum part. So the only other thing that I forgot to add into here so far is the orange zest.
You have a zester over there?
Yeah, I've got it here. Oh. So I'm going to add the zest of one orange. And you can leave this out. I like it in mine. It's not sort of the traditional way to do it, but
I've never had this.
My dad loved it when I was a kid. I think I don't love it either, but for me it's a bit nostalgic, so I'll have one during the holidays. But my dad loved it during the holidays, and he added like whipped cream to his at the end, so it was a little bit creamy. So I don't know if other people do that, or is anybody talking, Jenna, about?
The only thing that you said is Doug would like to know what a liquor leftover is.
Who asked that?
Doug.
Well,
Doug
knows where it's at. That's why he doesn't know what that is.
Well, there will be no liquor leftovers after tonight, Doug. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the zest of the orange. And then, like I said, look at Tessa's working muscles happening tonight. So I like the dark rum, but you don't have to use rum. You could use whiskey, bourbon, hot buttered brown liquor.
Hot buttered brown liquor.
So I'll keep doing that if you want to go to your next recipe.
To my next?
We got 6 to get through.
Yeah. I'm having fun doing this though. All right.
Doesn't it smell good?
It
Those
does.
Spices and the butter.
It does. I feel like you just add flour to this and make yourself some cookies.
You could.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to tackle, what am I going to do next? Let's do some Orangecello. Let's do some Orangecello. Get through our vodka. You ever put vodka in your coffee before?
No. Why would somebody do that?
I have a German friend who that's what he swore by. He was like, just put vodka in your coffee. And I was like, I don't think I'm there yet.
There's good booze to add to coffee. You don't need to add vodka.
I don't know.
I feel like that's maybe a sign of
it could be a sign. Well, that's why I was like, as I said, after it came out of my mouth, I was like, wait a second. This could be signs of other things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab myself a pot here. Now, Orangecello, Limoncello.
So Italian.
Italian. Yeah.
It is.
It is. It is. Now my partner's going to be like, you did something Italian today. Oh, damn. So we are using 4 ingredients. We're going to be using the skin or the rind off of our oranges. I've got water, sugar, and vodka. Now the recipe that Jenna has posted tells you to steep the orange peels into the vodka for 4 days at tabletop, and then you make the syrup and you pour it over top. But we are going to, again, we're going to do the express version tonight. I'm going to get everything minus the vodka in my pot, I'm going to bring it up to a boil, take it off the heat, add my vodka in, and then I'll transfer it to my jar. And this one does need to sit for a little bit longer. This is going to need to sit for at least a week, I would say. And you want to kind of play with your jar every day. And I'll talk a little bit about that for it to make more sense than saying play with your jar.
So I made a big batch of this last year during citrus season, which is like January, February. And the oranges were so amazing. So I made a big batch of this. And I actually let it sit from like February until probably April or May before I started drinking it. And it was so good. So I just drank it with club soda in the summer.
Nice.
And yeah, it was really light and refreshing and not super sweet, not super boozy.
How would you feel about doing this with limes? What do you think that would,
I don't know.
right? I love
Limoncello?
limes, but I don't know if limoncello.
They get a bit bitter sometimes. Like with the orange, the pith, the way you're peeling it, you want to make sure that you're just peeling the zest off and not getting much of the pith, which is the white part between the fruit and the skin. So you want to make sure that you're just getting that. And I think with lime, I don't know.
Yeah.
It can get a little bitter, I feel like.
I feel like grapefruit would be in that same boat. Although maybe I just don't like grapefruit enough.
So there's a really great, really delicious grapefruit liqueur that a friend of mine brought from South Africa, and I've never seen it available anywhere else anywhere I've traveled, but it's spectacular.
Oh. I'm excited for the Orangecello. I've had limoncello many times. My first really, 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 really bad hangover was on limoncello because I was a ding dong and I had like almost half a bottle in one sitting to be in college.
So we're just making a simple syrup here, and the zest is going to go right in with the syrup, right? So you're just going to bring this whole thing up to a boil.
Up to a boil. And then we're not putting the vodka in, right? Especially if it's on heat, because 2 cups of vodka in a pot with a little bit of fire, maybe too, I mean, we have an induction or a electric stove top, but you don't want to cook your booze out. You're trying to keep the booze in its like kind of natural state. We're infusing it. We're not cooking it.
So you could do a mixture of lemon and orange would be good.
Yeah.
Add a bit of lime to it for sure. But you know, if you were adding lime to this, maybe some lime leaf would be good. So do like orange lime leaf kind of thing.
That would be delicious. Should we
have
do
it?
that? We do. I'm going to grab some lime leaves. I love lime leaves.
We should try it and see how.
Anytime I can use a lime leaf, I will. Okay. Yeah, let's add some lime leaves in there.
So all you're trying to do is just completely dissolve the sugar. Yeah, I'd add a couple more.
A couple more.
Okay. I mean, they're strong, but I mean, you're making.
We are
infusing
steeping
a lot of vodka, so.
Yeah.
The lime leaves, these are Thai lime leaves, and they're going to add like that sour, like liminess without the traditional sort of flavor of lime.
Without the bitterness.
It's more fragrant somehow. Yeah.
All right.
So all your sugar's melted.
All my sugar's melted.
5 oranges in there, 4 lime leaves.
4 lime leaves.
We'll come back actually in one of our segments, upcoming segments, and make a cocktail with this. Just maybe add some soda or tonic to it or something. Oh, I can already smell the lime leaves. And it's actually turning a little bit green, which is interesting.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
All right.
Maybe we've invented something.
Maybe. Look at us go.
I know, right? Is this going to make a mess?
Yeah, it's going to make a mess, but that's how we roll here, generally speaking.
It's true. All right, let's see. Oh, there it goes. Shh.
So a bigger vessel might be useful.
Yeah.
So you're going to do this in 2 jars?
No, I'm grabbing tongs so I don't stick my hand like I normally do. I normally just stick my hand in hot things, but I'm going to actually use tongs today because that's a hot syrup and I don't want to burn myself on hot syrup today.
You can tell how busy we've been by the number of Band-Aids we're both wearing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 'Tis the season, and we've only just begun. All right. Ooh. It is very citrusy and very delicious smelling. It smells really nice.
Smells really good.
And then we just top it up with a little, just a little bit. Oh, am I going to get the whole bottle?
I feel like that's probably not going to be enough booze in there. For the amount of sugar and stuff, we may need to transfer it to
a bigger container.
if it gets too sweet, but we can play that by ear. So this will be perfectly fine sitting on your counter for a few days. You don't need to put it in the refrigerator or anything. The alcohol is like the best preservative. So yeah.
Yeah. And so if this is going to sit on your countertop, what I mean by play with your mason jar, with whatever jar it's steeping in, on the first day you'll have it kind of sitting right side up, and then after 24 hours, give it a flip upside down, and then every day just kind of keep rotating it and flipping it around. And do that for at least a week, but the longer this sits, as you were saying earlier, the longer it sits, the better.
Yeah, mine sat for months. And I was worried when I opened it that the fruit was going to be a little bit slimy, but it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm really excited for this.
Smells so good.
Okay.
Okay, now
All right, what do we want to do? Let's do the Irish cream.
Okay, cool. So the keto Irish cream or the vegan Irish cream, it calls for a can of coconut cream, which is different than coconut milk. Coconut cream is the thicker version. It has less of the coconut water in the can or in the bag with it. So this is the coconut cream, which comes in a can. So coconut cream, coconut milk, half a can of coconut milk. This bag that we sell is exactly half a can, which is super convenient.
So convenient.
Because it's vegan and keto, this is chocolate almond milk that's unsweetened. And we're going to add some instant espresso powder. And the sugar going into this is the monk fruit sugar. So the brand we use here in the store is called Liqueur, and it's made from monk fruit. And this is the only one I've found, literally the only one of these I've found that doesn't taste super fake. It tastes like sugar and behaves like sugar when you're baking, so it's a one-to-one substitution. So I think all of this just goes into a pan. So we're going to add the coconut milk. So this is like a version of Bailey's, I guess.
Oh, you need 2 jars for this. Oh, no, you need 2 jars for this one. All right.
So this is like vegan.
It's vegan Bailey's.
So if you were making this non-vegan, you can go ahead and use dairy instead of the almond milk. If you can't have almond milk, you could probably substitute with like what
oat
other
milk.
like oat milk, probably. Yeah, soy. I don't know.
Yeah, soy has
is
a weird. It has a weird kind of aftertaste.
Yeah.
But oat milk is very neutral. I mean, oat milk has like busted onto the scene and now it's everywhere.
Not a spoon.
But absolutely.
Yeah, oat milk might work. I mean, they heat it up a lot for like specialty coffees and stuff like
that gonna
that.
fit in
So
there?
that might work.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So the coconut cream, this is serious business. This is a lot of, look at, there's hardly
it's
any
gonna-
water in there. This is the coconut cream. And this is what's going to make it really nice and creamy. So there's lots of recipes online for non-vegan Baileys. You can certainly do that, but this is, I mean, everybody's got somebody visiting probably during the holidays that's vegan or certainly vegetarian, but the vegans can eat the Liqueur sugar. Vegans can't eat or shouldn't eat white sugar. Did you know white sugar wasn't vegan?
I didn't know that. I learned that when I started working here, and I remember Michelle telling me, and I looked at her and I was like, you are full of it. That is not true. And then you told me, and I was like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
if that's 2 people telling me, I looked it up, and I told Tyler last week.
And he learned something new too?
He was like, there's no way. And I'm like, no, it's true. It's not vegan. And now here we are.
So white sugar is refined at the factory with beef bones.
Yeah.
That's what finds it. And so good old white sugar is not technically vegan. But I guarantee you, most vegans don't know that.
I mean, I didn't know that, and I've been feeding vegans, well, brown sugar, which is still white sugar.
that's turned
So
brown.
yeah.
So we're just going to heat this up a little bit. So we added the espresso powder, which is like instant espresso. You can't use freshly ground espresso beans unless you strain it out, because you're still going to get that good coffee flavor, but instant espresso melts into it and doesn't leave any grounds behind. And then we're going to go ahead and add our brown sugar, which is our Lakanto keto sugar. And we're just going to go ahead and mix all of this up. This would also benefit, like everything does, from just a little pinch of salt. And because there's no dairy in this at all, it'll keep in the fridge for quite a while. I don't know the shelf life normally of almond milk, but it's quite long.
It's very long, yeah. Unopened, it's shelf stable for generally at least like 6 to 8 months. And then once you've opened it, you normally get another 3 weeks out of it. But it is, yeah, it's got a very, very long shelf life.
So this, just like everything else we've made tonight, is going to taste better the longer it sits. The brown sugar is going to infuse some of its sort of caramely notes. The espresso is going to infuse its flavor in here. You're going to get a little bit of the flavor from the almond milk, and then it's not going to be super coconutty. I think the espresso powder balances out some of the coconuttiness, but
Coconuttiness,
see
yeah.
how, like, it's not going to be great at the moment, but
You don't even really taste the coconut right off the bat.
no, not at all.
It's espresso,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't even really know.
Yeah, it's like a good coffee liqueur.
Yeah.
You know, if you're adding this to, you know, to your coffee.
Yeah.
Or,
We have a viewer comment. Pamela is saying Rogers white sugar is vegan now in BC.
oh, really?
Oh.
So red half brown sugar is vegan. But the white sugar used to only be Alberta beef, but BC Rogers went vegan a couple years ago.
Huh.
Wow.
Thanks for that. Yeah. I wonder, is all of it vegan, I guess? Maybe? All of Rogers?
I would assume so.
I mean, this is where they're from, Rogers, and this is probably the biggest vegan audience in Canada would definitely be here in Vancouver. So,
Yeah, Absolutely.
yeah. Anyhow, you want to just bring this up to a boil. You just want to make sure all of the coconut cream is dissolved. And because coconut cream or coconut milk doesn't have the same sort of thickening properties as heavy cream does, this won't cook down. It'll take forever to cook this down. So you kind of need to be happy with the texture. It's not going to be as viscous as like Bailey's Irish Cream is. It's going to be a little bit lighter, but you're looking for that flavor. And so once this is done, this can just get transferred into a jar, popped in the refrigerator or some sort of container, and then you can make yourself, once this has cooled down, then you go ahead and add your Irish whiskey. And so it calls for a cup of Irish whiskey. So I don't think I'm going to be able to fit all of this and that in here.
No, I had all these big dreams.
I know, our jar situation is a little...
I don't have anything. I have
On
a
the sad
I have a
side.
Vitamix bowl, but I need to use that.
So I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the heat now because it's all sort of done its work. And then I'm going to add in the 1 cup of Irish whiskey into this, and then we're going to go ahead and transfer it.
Into the jar?
And
Into
you wanna
multiple
make sure-
jars?
Yeah, you want to make sure you're using good booze. Don't use crappy booze because, I mean, why? Give that to your neighbor.
It's not going to get any better. You
Yeah.
want to, especially with, like, if you're making yourself a nice cocktail,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to go with the cheap stuff.
Okay, so we've got a really good base here. The heat is off, and this is gonna just continue to sort of do its thing and taste a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and,
I have so much stuff to put in my coffee. I'm so excited.
I feel like there's like not a lot of work's gonna get done around here for a while.
Well, you know, I mean,
Oh my God, that smells good.
oh,
With the whiskey added, isn't it?
yeah, that smells exactly like Bailey's.
It totally does.
It smells exactly like Bailey's.
So I'm going to just set this aside till it cools, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the fridge, but I'm gonna find another jar to put this stuff in. So
Okay.
you're up.
I'm up. All right, we are on to some gin. Cranberry Ginger Gin, a little bit of lime. And these are great as a base for gin fizzes. If you like a good gin fizz, because we are adding quite a few things that are bitter, you can actually use a little bit of a sweeter wine. I personally am a big fan of very, very dry, like a dry Prosecco or a dry sparkling wine. But if you like a sweeter sparkling wine, you could put Moscato in here to try to balance out some of that sweetness. But it is a fairly bitter recipe.
I can't wait to come back and try all of these as cocktails in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. Now I was gonna use a food processor, but we opted for the French pin because sometimes you just gotta,
We're fancy like that.
you just gotta go with what you know or what you got. So really, this is a cup of cranberries that's gonna go into my jar. Again, I'm just throwing everything all over the place. This is very normal if you've ever seen me working in the kitchen, that I'm launching things or accidentally throwing things. That does happen quite a bit. So this is on par. I need about a tablespoon of ginger here. So I'm just going to kind of cut a little piece off. The best way to peel ginger is with a spoon. With the spoon, you're able to kind of save as much of the ginger as possible. And when you peel, you do lose a lot of it. Just be careful that you don't get yourself in the eye with some ginger juice because it's almost on par with jalapeno juice. It's not very pleasant. So I'll quickly...
Heather would like to know if we will be raffling off tasting spots.
Ooh!
Heather's assuming we're planning on sharing.
I was
this.
gonna say. Okay. Get rid of my skin here. And I'm just gonna chop this rather roughly here. I am gonna muddle it.
That's a lot of ginger.
That's a lot of ginger.
This is going to be spicy.
That's more than a tablespoon. So we're gonna go with about half of it. There we go.
Now we're just eyeballing things. We're half a cocktail in. And
We're half a cocktail in. We're like, this makes
eyeballing
sense.
things.
Sure, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to add a little bit of lime zest to this as well. And I have seen recipes where people add rosemary to it, which I've never tried, but I feel like it would go well. And this one is ready fairly quickly. This one is normally good to drink after about 2 days in the fridge, but this is one that you're going to want to test, kind of taste it every day and see how strong you want it to be, how much of that cranberry flavor you're looking for.
I think you're going to get some sort of tartness, obviously, from the cranberry, but I think before you get too much cranberry, you can easily get too much ginger.
Yes.
So I think you're going to want to monitor the ginger level.
More than the cranberry.
That's just for me, because I find ginger can be really overpowering. I know other people love it a lot more than I do, but...
I mean, I'm a big baby, and so ginger for me is very spicy, so I do only use a little bit of it. I normally use like a small amount compared to what I tell others to use.
But this is going to be such a beautiful color.
It's going to be nice and pink. All that cranberry juice. I'm just making sure I really kind of crush the ginger into this.
So
And
even if you weren't doing a gin fizz with this, you could do a really nice holiday punch with
Yep.
this. Would be really good with
Yep.
this beautiful pink gin. And I guess vodka would work with this too, right? If you're not a gin lover.
yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite drinks is I love Clover Clubs, which are made with gin and a raspberry syrup. But if you wanted to do a cranberry version of that, it's got a little bit of egg white in there too. You could use this gin as a base and then add just a little bit of a sweetener to it and then your egg white and shake it up and then you have a good holiday version of it. All right, this rolling pin is going to forever be
The gin pin.
the gin pin. The gin mulling pin. I'm a really big fan of Top Shelf as well.
Of what?
Top Shelf gin? Yeah, Top Shelf gin.
This is Tempo. This is
Yeah.
local.
And then we just
Fill her up.
fill her up. That's it.
That's a nice color.
Whoa. There's a tiny little gin bottle here. Do you want to add it?
I do. We gotta go all the way to the top. Oh, it's a cute little
It's a
gin.
mini one. I don't know where it came from. My purse, maybe.
Your
Probably.
the driving gin. Ooh, no, can't say that too loud.
That's my briefcase gin.
The briefcase. No, that makes more sense. Oh, look at that. It's perfect.
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 Yeah, I'll recycle that. The recycling company's going to be like, what the hell went on in there tonight?
It's Wednesday? What's happening?
Usually there's like cans of like coconut milk or whatever in the can department, but We full of empties tonight.
Full of empties. So this guy is going to hang out in the fridge. Of course, you want to make sure you strain it really well. Use a nice fine mesh sieve when you're straining this because there's going to be cranberry seeds in there, and there could be some pulp of the ginger that's left behind. So make sure you strain it really well. But it's already, like, look at the color that it's already got.
It's beautiful.
It's going to be great.
There's no sugar in here. So I'm a little concerned about the tartness. I'm not going to lie.
It's going to get tart. It's going to get bitter. But that's where we're using it as a base where you would want to add other sweeteners to it. Because it's going to be, I'll make you something.
All right.
I'll make you.
We'll come back and have cocktails.
We will.
With it.
We can compare notes.
Okay.
Heather and Dave or Jenna are saying they're going to sit in the parking lot until you bribe them to leave.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can totally do that.
We can do that.
All right, so this next recipe is a recipe for an infused whiskey. And I first had this drink, I was at a bar in Portland called Bar Mingo, and I was with my friend Shannon, and we sat at the bar, and the bartender was really amazing, and he told us lots of great stories, but he was infusing his own, he was using Maker's Mark bourbon, which works really well in this, but we're Canadian, so I'm going to use a little bit of Crown Royal, and I just happened to have a bottle at home that nobody was drinking because David's not a big Crown Royal guy. He's more of a rye or a whiskey or bourbon kind of guy. So we don't consume a lot of Crown Royal at our house. And this is another one of these that has to sit for quite a while. So we're going to use 2 whole vanilla beans, and you want to just
Go for it.
So you want to just split your vanilla beans straight down the middle. And just sort of open it up because all of the seeds and all of the delicious bits are inside, and you want to just flatten it out a little bit so that the seeds, the insides are slightly exposed. And then I'm going to cut it in half just because it'll fit better in the jar. So I'm going to do 1 in each jar. And you want to have a really nice fresh vanilla bean. They're not cheap. I think they're like probably about $4 or $5 each right now.
Yeah.
But it goes a really long way. And when you're done with your bourbon, after you've infused your bourbon or done anything with the vanilla bean, if you take the vanilla bean out of whatever you're using, let it dry out, just sit it on the counter for a couple of hours, let it dry out a little bit, then put it in a Tupperware container covered in white sugar, and it'll just infuse into vanilla sugar.
Yeah, you'll have a vanilla sugar, absolutely. That's one of my favorite things to do with leftover vanilla pods, or make vanilla extract with it. You hang on to them to make your own vanilla extract, which is what we're going to show you guys after.
So I'm going to just take the stems off of these. So these are Calamirna figs, and I think these are probably from California, but they're nice and soft. They're not super dry, but you could use chopped figs if you've got them. And the figs are going to work really well with the sort of the caramel notes in the whiskey. Do you mind opening
I was
that?
going to say, I'm like, this isn't open yet.
So the recipe, I think, calls for 12 figs. And the other thing that's going to go into this is cinnamon. And this is all we're going to put in this recipe is the vanilla, the cinnamon, figs, and whiskey. And so you want to make sure you're using really, really great ingredients. Really good fresh cinnamon, really nice pliable figs. There we go. And the bartender who taught me how to make this, told me how to make it, he was just pouring it for us straight. We were just drinking it. We were just drinking it straight.
That's why you love that place so much.
It was so fun. It was a really good Italian restaurant attached to the bar, and I don't think we ever made it to the table. I think we just ate our dinner at the bar.
Were you able to get up and go to your table?
We could have gone to our table. I think because the bartender was entertaining us.
It's true.
We decided just to eat our dinner at the bar, and it was
Yeah.
a really great Italian meal, and we sat at the bar and drank way too much.
That happens, but that happens when you have a really good bartender.
Yeah. Okay, so a bunch of figs,
All right.
and then we're going to drop our cinnamon in.
Now, you couldn't do this with fresh figs, right?
No, there's too much moisture, and they'll mold, I think. Even in the whiskey, I think they'll go funky. Because figs are one of those things that have just, they don't really have a skin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just don't hold up the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, so in here we're going to add some cinnamon. So this is, I think, is it a tablespoon, Jenna, or a teaspoon? of cinnamon goes in. So I'm just going to roughly, I'm going to eyeball
We're
it
eyeballing.
between the 2 jars. A teaspoon of
well.
cinnamon. And then I'm just going to go ahead and top these with
Just
the
a little
whiskey.
splash, you know?
Yep. I'm going to use the whole bottle. So this one would really benefit from time. The longer this sits, the better it's going to get, and eventually it'll stop taking on the flavors of the figs and the cinnamon, and the vanilla beans will give up everything they've got as well. So this is going to start to get a little bit cloudy, and it's going to the figs are going to start to break down, and the seeds are going to start to come out of the figs. So don't be alarmed when it starts to get a little bit cloudy. There's nothing in here that's going bad. And it also doesn't need to go in the refrigerator. This can sit out at room temperature.
With your Orangecello.
Yeah, and this will really benefit from some time. And every day or every couple of days when you're walking by, just give it a good shake. And yeah, we were drinking this just on ice, and it was really, really good. All of these flavors, the sweetness from the figs totally mellows out the whiskey. And like I said, the bartender in Portland was using Maker's Mark, which I'm not normally a fan of. Like, I'm not a big brown liquor drinker.
No, neither am I.
But it was, hey, I drank a lot of it that night. So anyhow, we'll come back to these ones as well.
And could you put a cinnamon stick in here if you don't have any ground cinnamon? Or would that be too cinnamony? Because it would just keep releasing kind of that intense flavor.
I feel like the cinnamon bark, when you use that, it changes the flavor and it almost tastes a little bit woody. When you use the ground cinnamon, I feel like it's a different sort of sweetness than using the cinnamon stick. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah. You've got more of like that sweet cinnamon flavor.
Right.
Versus kind of the bitterness that can be left behind by using a cinnamon stick.
Because it is wood, basically. It's bark, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I feel like just use really good quality ground cinnamon. Yeah, and good whiskey for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Crown Royal is. I mean, this isn't something I would choose to drink for sure. This is what my grandfather drank when I was a kid. So it's super nostalgic for me. This smell of this.
I don't want to smell it. That's something that my dad, my parents, you always give gifts to your teachers. And I never realized, because my parents would give them like the big bottles to my main teacher. And I was always like, oh, what a good gift. And as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was obviously a handful if they were like, here you go. Thanks for taking care of the bus driver got one too. The bus driver and the teacher.
Sorry about my child. Here's a whole lot of booze for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to sit, and we'll come back to that
come back
in a
to
couple of
this.
weeks also.
Hang
see
out
how it's doing.
with our
All right.
Orangecello. Woo. Okay.
So normally we would have some snacks if we were having like a proper cocktail party and stuff. Are you a lover of the like nuts and bolts, the Chex Mix, all of that kind of stuff?
Well, see, the first time you said nuts and bolts to me, I was like, pardon me, I don't know what that is. And then I realized, I was like, you mean like the stuff that you see on the Shreddies box? I do, but I like sweet and salty. So I will sit there. I would rather have a bowl of something that's sweet and salty mixed together instead of just like slamming a bag of chips and then reaching for a chocolate bar and then going back to the chips. You go back and forth.
So basically nuts and bolts, but you'll put M&Ms in yours? Is that,
yeah,
okay.
More or less, yeah. Or like if you put a sweetened cereal in there or something, like I'm gonna go for the honey Shreddies.
Count Chocula.
Not Count. I have like I don't have standards. That's not true. My nuts and bolts. It's gonna be what is that? What's the guy who wears the hat?
What hat?
The blue hat. Captain Crunch.
Oh,
Captain Crunch, Chocula, nuts and bolts.
I'll eat it with you.
It'll be a special here.
So it'll be special.
It'll be special, but not for the right reasons.
So today when we were cleaning out the pantry, or earlier this week when we were cleaning out the pantry, we found buried in the pantry some vanilla beans that somebody had forgotten about. And they're really dry and really brittle. But there's still lots of goodness inside these beans, and truthfully, they're too expensive to throw out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So we are going to utilize them in the best way possible, which is covering them in rum and making your own vanilla extract. So this is one of those things where, again, vanilla beans are crazy expensive. You buy that little vial of 2 of them, it's $8. And sometimes you feel bad throwing away the pod after you've scraped the seeds out. So I do one of 2 things. I either do the vanilla sugar. I always hang on to the vanilla beans after I'm done using them and dry them out. I either save them, cover them in sugar, or I save them, and then I cover them in white rum. And then you just let it sit in a nice dark place. Every time you've got another vanilla bean, add it in, and kind of as time goes, it does take like a good 3 months of sitting.
Takes a while, yeah.
But I mean, it's well worth it. You have your own vanilla extract that you've made.
And if you're a baker and you are always using vanilla beans, then when you're done using it and you're scrape the center out and like you've made maybe a custard or something, just use a towel to wipe the cream off and then throw it in the jar, and you'll have like a perpetual jar. And you can just keep adding more rum. You can use vodka, you can use bourbon. You can just keep topping up the liquid level in the jar to keep the beans hydrated. And keep adding your beans as you use them to the jar.
Yeah. And this should be, I mean, we're starting at what? We're November? Haha, mid-November. So by end of January, hopefully, as we continue to add things to this, we might be able to start using it. But do keep in mind that it's not going to be like the vanilla extract you get in that little container. It's going to be a little bit stronger tasting, so you're going to...
Because of the booze?
Well, because of the booze, but because the little, I mean, that little container of vanilla extract, what's the alcohol content on those little guys?
Well, you can buy alcohol-free vanilla extract, but it is pretty high. But, I mean, you don't use a ton of it either.
No, you only ever use a
like
teaspoon
or
at a
whatever.
time.
And we've gotten to a place here where we only use the vanilla paste. And I think the vanilla paste is just a superior product. So when they make vanilla extract, they use alcohol to extract the flavor from the bean. And when they make vanilla paste, they use corn syrup, which is sort of problematic on its own, but you use very little. So they use corn syrup to extract the seeds and the flavor from the bean. And oh, there's a ring for that will seal it tight. Sorry. There you go. One of those.
Just
will
one?
seal it
Okay.
tight. Or one on the top, one on the bottom. So when they make the extract, they use alcohol, and when they make the paste, they use corn syrup. And so the corn syrup sort of suspends all of those seeds in the syrup, so you get this really beautiful, seedy kind of vanilla that I think tastes a lot better than vanilla extract.
Do I put another one of these on? No, just one.
Yeah. So that's going to take, like Tessa said, that's going to take a little while.
It's going to take a little while. The color will change. You can already see these vanilla beans are coming out. The color will slowly change. It takes a few months, but it is well worth it. And then you have a much larger quantity than what you would buy, because vanilla extract is expensive.
Really expensive.
It's really expensive.
Vanilla itself is really expensive, and in the last few years, I mean, with climate change, in the parts of the world that grow vanilla, the crop, just like all of our crops in Canada, have been affected by climate change. All of the farming in North America has changed, so all of the farming in South America has also changed in the tropical countries, and so they're having, you know, droughts and problems.
They're having there was a huge storm, I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, when the price skyrocketed. There was a massive typhoon or hurricane or something that wiped out 80% of the crop.
Yeah.
And then the other 20% was bought up by Coca-Cola because they needed it for their vanilla Coke. And then since then, we've been just trying to
climb our way
back out, but we can't seem to. I mean,
So
climate change is just...
Yeah, I mean, climate change sort of is affecting everything, but it has impacts certainly on ingredients that we use, because the kitchen relies on so many global ingredients. I mean, the lime leaves, those come probably from Thailand or the Philippines, Vietnam. So things like that, you rely on, you know, the importation of all of that stuff, and the prices just continue to go up and up and up. But I did read the other day, and then I think in the Globe and Mail or something, there's a farmer on Vancouver, I think it's on Vancouver Island, they're growing finger limes. He's actually harvesting his first crop of saffron.
Yeah. I read about that, saffron, and I was like, saffron?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. He's going to make some, it's time consuming. There's a reason why it's so expensive, but if he can do it, if he can manage to actually have a decent product.
So, I mean, so now Vancouver's the new South America. So we're getting all of these sort of more tropical fruits and access to things that nobody could grow before. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of evolves. You know, there's kiwi farms now in Abbotsford. They're growing citrus on Vancouver Island.
It's getting hotter.
It's
Getting hotter and drier, and I mean, we're seeing the effects. The other thing too that's happening, that's kind of increasing our price, is our fun little pandemic friend, everything is just coming down to a halt. So if that guy can grow saffron and we don't need to import it from
Yeah, but I mean,
everywhere.
I mean, I spend a lot of time during the day talking to our suppliers about some of the supply chain issues, and it's happening with food, and this is part of the challenge. And you know, a lot of our produce comes up from California, and so we have to rely on the truck drivers, and we have to rely on people at the border to process it. We have to rely on the Canadian government to inspect it all before it can come into the country. So there's a million steps I think people don't really pay attention to. We just take it for granted. Oh, look, the salad's in my supermarket, I'm going to buy it. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so I could talk all day about that. Nobody cares.
Heck
what I
on
have
track.
to
Is this
say
one mine?
About, yes, that is yours.
Okay, good.
Nobody cares what I have to say about climate change or supply chain issues, and I've had almost a whole cocktail, so I care even less at the moment. But I can tell you that you can buy all of these ingredients locally. Everything that we use tonight, you can either buy it well seasoned or you can buy fresh from the produce store. The alcohol, we have a lot of really amazing distillers here in British Columbia. They're distilling rum, vodka, gin, you name it. So you can source some really fantastic local product. Even liqueurs, there's lots of them being made locally. The Sons of Vancouver, their amaretto, if you haven't had it, go find it. It's phenomenal. And I don't even like amaretto, but
See, neither do I, but maybe that'll change my mind.
it's really good. So anyhow, so in the coming weeks, we're going to continue with these Wednesday night cooking classes, and maybe on Wednesday nights we'll make a cocktail with one of these recipes that we created tonight. We'll share the recipe for an actual cocktail. But if you're planning on gifting some of this for Christmas, I'd start making it now. Because really the only thing that isn't going to keep until Christmas is the what was the cream one? Sorry.
The white chocolate liqueur, that won't keep. And then these guys are all fine. The cranberry gin is fine once it's strained. So it's really just the white chocolate liqueur with the dairy in there. That's about it. But I think, is it 6 weeks to Christmas? And we have 6 cocktails that we made. So every week we'll try one out, right?
Yeah. So find some fun bottles. We've got some nice ones here, but you can pop into any of your sort of local craft stores or whatever and find some really nice bottles. You can find some beautiful jars, and you can gift some of this. And I think, you know, for me, gifting at Christmas, I don't need more stuff. I'd like more things like this that I can enjoy. Maybe you can attach your favorite recipe to go with it, and I think that would be a really amazing gift.
I would be thrilled to be given Orangecello and a pack of socks.
Good.
That's it.
Good to know.
I am a happy person.
Jenna, write that down.
Right, just, yeah, that's Christmas for me.
So thanks for joining us tonight. I don't think we've decided yet what we're going to do next week. I think Tessa and I were talking about making ahead some accompaniments for your charcuterie board. So maybe that's the direction we're going to go next week. Some really fun accompaniments that you can make ahead, and you can plan your holiday cheese and charcuterie board and put some of them in the refrigerator. They'll definitely keep until Christmas. So do you want to do that next week?
Yeah, we can pickle a few things. We can make a little compote. We can do some jams, talk about olives.
Yeah, infuse
that
some
good stuff.
honey, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our plan for next Wednesday, 6 o'clock right here in the Well Seasoned Kitchen. We're going to up the charcuterie board game. Yes. And we make a lot of charcuterie boards around here, so
charcuterist.
Michelle's our charcuterist. She's our charcuterie artist. So we're going to, it'll be fun. We've got some really fun ideas for things to add to your charcuterie board this Christmas. So yeah, thanks for being with us tonight. Hopefully you are inspired to try some of these recipes, and I want to hear back from you, which ones you tried and which ones you loved. Heather, Doug, we'll see you in the parking lot over the next couple of weeks.
We'll be here.
We wrap up.
It might be your house now for the random bottles.
There's no more random bottles left at my house, Doug. We use them
No, they're all
tonight.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, we finish at 7 o'clock. So you can just pull up to the back door and we'll mix you a cocktail.
Start knocking.
So thanks. That was fun.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you right back here next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And if you haven't downloaded the recipes yet, they'll be available here on Facebook and on our website. So have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.